Hey, YCIS, it's Mr. Hackman again, back for another assembly. Hope you're all having a good week. Before we go into today's assembly, we've got an advertisement from CCDD about the upcoming launch of our Wake Fellowship. And so here it is now.
At break of day, in hope we rise, we speak.
So YCIS Wake Launch is coming soon, 10th of September, 3:45 to 4:45 at CCDD. You guys know where it is? Right at the fish tank.
I'll take it from here. So guys, we got a lot of things prepared for you. We got games, we got activities, and we're gonna have a lot of pizza. We'll be eating it right over here. So now I'm gonna be passing the time to Miss Kay.
Alright, you're gonna invite your friends and invite yourself and your classmates to our Wake activity. We are gonna wait for you there. See ya! We can't wait to see you! Woohoo!
You wake within me, wake within me.
Great. I hope you enjoyed that, and hope some of you can come out on Friday for the launch of our Wake Fellowship. That would be great. Great to see you. Today's assembly, I wanted to look at some habits of unhappy people. I know that a lot of times with, the academic pressures and the pressures that come with the years that you're going through right now, that can kind of weigh on you. And according to Psychology Today, there's a California researcher that has stated that 40% of our capacity for happiness is within our power to change, that there are certain traits and habits that chronically unhappy people seem to have mastered. We all have bad days. When you look at these habits that we're going to look at right now, I think any one of us can surely have that on any given day. But what they're suggesting is that people who are chronically unhappy, that they're unhappy as just the normal part of their day to day. These are habits which have, they've really formed as a habitual or regular part of who they are. And these are things to become aware of and to the best of our ability, try to eliminate from our day-to-day life. The first one is that your default belief is that life is hard. Happy people know that life can be hard, and they tend to bounce through hard times with an attitude of curiosity versus victimhood. They take responsibility for how they got themselves into a mess and focus on getting themselves out of it as soon as possible. So you're not sitting there thinking somebody else is to blame, that the reason this bad thing happened to me, if only this person hadn't done this. They take on what we call victimhood, that I'm the victim of bad circumstances. People that are happy genuinely are generally tried to say, hey, you know what, it was probably some decisions I made that got me into the situation that I'm at. So a focus on problem solving versus complaining over circumstances is a symptom of a happy person. Unhappy people see themselves as victims of life and stay stuck in the look what happened to me attitude versus finding a way through and out the other side. The second characteristic of unhappy people is you believe most people can't be trusted. Happy people are trusting of their fellow people around them, their people they interact with. That's their default, is they trust people right off the bat. They believe in the good in people versus assuming everyone is out to get them. Generally open and friendly towards people they meet, happy people foster a sense of community around themselves and meet new people with an open heart. This is something I feel very strongly about. I tend to just trust people immediately, that I just naturally want to believe people. And you really have to kind of go out of your way to lose that with me. But unhappy people are distrustful of most people they meet and assume that strangers can't be trusted. Unfortunately, this behavior slowly starts to close the door on any connection outside of an inner circle and thwarts all chances of meeting new friends. The third characteristic is you concentrate on what's wrong in this world versus on what's right. There's plenty wrong with this world. There's no arguments there. Yet unhappy people turn a blind eye to what's actually right in this world and instead focus on what's wrong. You can spot that person a mile away. They'll be the ones complaining and responding to any positive attributes of our world with Yeah, but happy people are aware of global issues, but balance their concern with also seeing what's right. They keep both eyes open. Unhappy people tend to close one eye towards anything good in this world in fear they might be distracted from what's wrong. Happy people keep it in perspective. They know our world has problems, but they also keep an eye on what's right. Number four, I think, is a big one. And I don't think any of us is totally guilt free from comparing ourselves to others and sometimes having jealousy. But unhappy people believe someone else's good fortune steals from their own. They believe that there's not enough goodness to go around and constantly compare yours against theirs. This leads to jealousy and resentment. But happy people believe they carry a unique blueprint that can't be duplicated or stolen from by anyone on the planet. They believe in unlimited possibilities and don't get bogged down by thinking one person's good fortune limits the possible incomes in their own life. So I've really tried to come to a place where if someone else succeeds in something, especially if something I'd like to succeed in as well, I want to celebrate that. I don't want to feel like, oh, I didn't get it, they got it, and then I feel this negative jealousy inside. It's just never a good place to be. In fact, I find that when I celebrate other people's successes, it really positions my own heart to be able to be ready to, I'm able to do better in the things that I want to achieve in as well. And so comparing yourself to others and being jealous, it's a recipe for unhappiness. The fifth thing is you strive to control your life. Now, there's a difference between control and striving to achieve our goals. Happy people take steps to achieve their goals, but realize in the end, they have very little control over what life throws their way. I mean, things are going to happen and you can't control everything that happens in your life. Unhappy people tend to micromanage in an effort to control all outcomes and fall apart in a dramatic display when life throws them a wrench in their plans. Happy people can be just as focused, yet still have the ability to go with the flow and not melt down or just fall apart emotionally when life delivers them a curveball. It just doesn't go their way. Going with the flow is what happy people have as a plan B. If it doesn't go my way, okay, we'll figure out a new way. It's okay. There's always another day. Number six, you consider your future with worry and fear. There's only so much rent space between your ears. I mean, there's only so many thoughts you can think in your head. Unhappy people fill their thoughts with what could go wrong versus with what could go right. Happy people take on a healthy dose of delusion and allow themselves to daydream about what they'd like to have in life and what they would like to have unfold before them. Unhappy people fill that headspace with constant worry and fear. Be thinking about the good stuff. Don't be thinking about the bad stuff. And finally, number seven, you fill your conversations with gossip and complaints. Unhappy people love to live in the past. What's happened to them and life's hardships are their conversation of choice. When they run out of things to say, they'll turn to other people's lives and gossip. Happy people live in the now and dream about the future. You can feel their positive vibe from across the room. They're excited about something they're working on, grateful for what they have, and dreaming about possibilities of life in the future. Obviously, none of us are perfect. We all tend to be negative once in a while, even Mr. Hackman. But what matters is how we stay there and how quickly we work to get ourselves out. Just this last week, I had some disappointing. There was something I was kind of expecting. I had my hopes up for something, and it really didn't go my way. And I really had to just pause for a minute, remember the blessings in my life, and that usually things tend to go well. And life threw me a curveball, and it's going to be okay. We just move on and go to plan B. And I want to finish this by wrapping it into, from a Christian perspective, this is something that the Apostle Paul, when he was writing in the Bible many, many years ago, and he was encouraging the church in the city of Philippi. This is why it's in the book of Philippians. He was encouraging them in much the same way that I'm trying to encourage you now about how to live a life which is happy and not unhappy. Or as we like to say, our guiding Bible verse for CCDD and for Yu Chung is from the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 10, that Jesus came to bring life and life to the fullest. So Paul says here in Philippians chapter 4, verse 9, he says, finally, brethren, or finally, everybody, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good repute, if there is any excellence, and if there's anything worthy of praise, dwell on these things. This is a way of just saying, that headspace where so much of the battle goes on. And I know as young people, and like I said, with the academic pressures that you're under, and especially if you're in a testing year, there's all kinds of pressures and worries that can come up in your mind. And it's really important that we pause for a minute, because what you put in your heart and your mind is what will come out of you. And what Paul is saying here is, if you're thinking pure, pure will come out. If you're thinking good, good will come out. If you're thinking excellent, excellent will come out. If there's anything that's worthy of praise going in, that's what will come out of you. Basically, garbage in, garbage out, goodness in, goodness out. And finally, I'd like to offer up a reflection question for you to consider with your form teachers if you have time. And the question is this: did one of these traits stand out to you? And how could you limit that trait in your life? How could you limit those things that add to unhappiness in your life? I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I've given you something to consider. I hope you have a happy rest of your day and rest of your week. If you have any questions, feel free to come see me in CCDD. I'm always available if you'd like to talk through any of these issues in the future, both students and staff. Thank you, and God bless. We'll see you next assembly.